Hey everyone, it's Cassie.
It's Esty. We're best friend-in-laws. We've got some shit to say.
I'm ready. Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Just two moms with their beats.
Welcome back, bestie.
Hey, bestie. So, I'm so excited for this week's episode. We're having a special guest, y'all baby daddy. But before he was just your baby daddy, he also was your husband, so your ex. So it shows a lot of growth for you guys to be able for him to come on with us and talk about, co-parenting. So I'm excited.
Definitely. Ain't no better baby mama over here. Plus, it's also nice to be able to phone a friend and, hey, I have some questions. And who better to ask parenting questions besides the person that we co-parent with?
Exactly. So I think it's great that we're having, Matt on, and I'm privileged to know he's, care for it. And I hope our listeners see that you can be email only to literally being on our podcast. So
yeah, there has been a lot of growth and we've come a long way, and this is just one of those milestones that drops in our bucket of things that we've achieved, and so be nice to him. I don't know what's going to come out of this, but I've always been open and willing and ready to have the hard conversations. So let's jump into this.
Yeah.
Hopefully he loves his introduction. Yeah.
I know.
All right.
Hopefully.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Welcome. We have an extra special guest today, everybody. I don't know which way you're going to show up. You're going to be on the top or the bottom.
No,
this is
somewhere.
This is Matt. This is the father of my children. This is my first husband. This is Matt. People have heard a lot about you, but haven't heard from you. We wanted to bring you on extra special today because we've been dying to get a dad on, first of all. And who better than you?
Because, we can't think like a man.
Right.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know.
Honestly, I think the best case scenario for us to get the answers that we're looking for is because we have a co-parenting relationship, we do a damn good job. We fought to be as far as where we are today. And I think compared to others, we do a pretty good damn job. So we're pretty much going to stay along that line of conversation for today. We'll do, if you'd like to come back, we could do more later about some other topics if you want. But today we're pretty much going to have a dad episode. You just missed Father's Day, so we could have done this earlier, but you
gotta understand where I'm coming from. I mean, you're a little hesitant.
Yeah,
you seem well versed in what you guys are doing, so that's a little intimidating, but I respect
He's been skipping out on me for a while. I've been asking for over a year.
I know. I should have mic'd him up in my car that day. Just kidding.
Oh gosh. He said season 4. You guys, I was like, yeah, you've had some opportunities to be here and you haven't. So I'm scared. Cassie, do you want to start or do you want me to start? Because I was going to go off of our list here.
Okay, but I'm going to start with my random question. It's not that deep.
No idea what she's going to ask. We share a note app on Apple, and we usually put all of our podcast topics on there so we know what we're coming into. She did not share this one with me, so.
Because it came to my mind. Okay, anyways. It's not. I wanted to know because I'm obviously raising 3 boys, and from a man's perspective, what's one thing that I know you like to instill in your sons, because your sons are much older than mine are still 11 and 9, 2 9-year-olds. So that was kind of my thing where I wanted to get and how you co-parent those things you want to instill with them with us like being on the
You
same
want
page
like
as that.
what I feel the strongest in? The biggest
Okay, I'll
topic?
stop sweating because I didn't know what she was gonna ask.
No,
I
that's
told
a
you it
great
wasn't that
question.
deep. I mean, it's deep, but not that deep. Like, I think it's pretty good
Hot
starter.
flashes. Okay.
That's a great question. What I do with the boys is what was done to me. I've always treated them like people, not children. And anytime I've had to talk to them, it's to sit down and talk to them and explain whether it be the error of their way or where they can improve, but you talk to them like people and they'll respect you from an early age. My dad did it to me. Even, can you cuss?
Yes.
Yeah, you can cuss on here.
Absolutely.
Even after the ass whoopings, my dad would sit down and talk to me and he would lay it down for me. So I didn't do the spanking, but I still do the talkings, and the boys, I think the boys respect me more for it. And I think that they trust my word because I've always talked to them like. So yeah, I've always respected them as people and individuals. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Did you ever witness that, SP?
So what I'll add to what he said is, fortunately for him, he's had a great raising. His dad is a huge, like, involved parent, and so I was grateful to get that with him being their grandfather. It's a very good influence for them, and I will say that, like he said, we've never had to come down to their level. We made sure that the kids came up to us. And so there was always an understanding, I feel like, with communication. We come from a place where we're not stupid. You can't play us stupid. We've been there, done that. We've probably done worse.
Mm-hmm.
And you really can't play us. And so I think the boys can't run to dad and the boys can't run to mom, because we both are going to come up with the same answer. Most of the time we parent on the same plane. So there hasn't been too many situations where I've been like, Matt, you shouldn't have done that. Or like he tells me, like, I don't agree with what you did, because even if we're not in the same room, we still end up with the same answer. So yeah, hopefully that answers what your question was. Like, I think that's a big, for us being boy parents, boy dad, boy mom. I don't have any girls to deal with, but like being a boy mom, I have to keep in mind that I'm sending these boys into the world. And so what they give into the world is what we have put into them, what we've poured into them. So you got to be very careful with that.
Yeah. Sounds really
What were
good.
you
I know.
thinking?
I always see your dad at the games and stuff, and I'm always like, look at that grandpa. He's so happy. I like to cheer them on.
Yeah, and he was that way with me. Yeah, I was very fortunate to have that from a very young age. I mean, yeah, I'm glad to pass that on. We're fortunate, and that's all we can, in hope, is just do better, for them than what our parents did for us, and take the best of their teachings and pass that along. I hope I'm doing a good job. Every day I hope I'm doing a good job.
And fun fact, he only has one granddaughter, right?
Yeah.
So he's raised a lot of men into this world. Yes, and I can't complain. He's done a great job.
My boys are like the first boy. Well, I have a cousin who's 22, but my son was like the second boy born like after, and my son's 11. So they're, 10 years, 12 years apart. And I'm the only one that had boys at first in my family.
I don't know what
I was like, how do I change this diaper? I don't know. I'm just kidding. Thank goodness we're done with that.
Do you ever think, or because you can continue to have children if you truly wanted to, but do you ever think you would have ever wanted a girl, or what the hell would we have done with a girl?
Yeah.
I can't see myself being a girl mom.
No, not at all. But I mean, you always kind of just fantasize about what would have been. And yeah, I mean, just witnessing my friends raising their daughters, it's scary thought.
She probably would have gotten your curly hair and the boys would have hated her for it. So
that's usually how it ends up. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why do I have to have straight hair? Like, Mom.
Who's that, Lorenzo?
Probably.
Me too. So one of the first things that I had on our list that I know that I wanted to walk in here and have a conversation with you about is some things that are currently affecting us anyways, us, them, the world, whatever, is communication between co-parenting houses, two complete households. Your take on it and what she can take away from it, because so short story long, Cassie, her co-parenting situation is having some time to flourish. About 10 years too late. But give credit where credit's due. They are doing a great job in today, and they need some advice. Now, I'm sure Cassie's open to hearing any advice she can to make these things work, because in Cassie's household, there are two different co-parenting situations in two different houses.
On both sides?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they are a blended family.
So I'm like stepmom over here and mom, and then they have dad over there.
Who's also a stepdad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have stepdad here in the house. And then their dad, a different dynamic over there too. He's just by himself right now. And he's working on that. But it's just hard to what would you say, SB? Communication line.
I think that you and Daniel are more open and ready for that type of communication, but your side is coming together, his side may not ever come together. I'm not really sure, but like there needs to be something said out loud to be like, listen, regardless of whatever it is and how far we're going to do this, like it's not 18 years. It's going to be forever. So something has to click eventually so y'all can actually be in the same room at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, what it came down to with me and my situation when I was going through it, it came down to my desire for wanting what's best for my kids. So, I felt coming from, a home that wasn't divorced, or they never divorced, I felt like it was more of my responsibility at that point to make an effort. And then when I wasn't making an effort, SB was making the effort. And, keeping the line of communication open, as far as just sending me pictures of the boys, just randomly. And, being afforded that even when I don't have them. And she didn't have to say anything, she like when the boys were traveling with her sister, she sent me pictures of them. I didn't ask for them, but she made her effort because she knew that's what I would want. And even if we were indifferent at that point, it made me want to open that line of communication because, I can't be there for them when I don't have them. But when they were younger, as long as I maintained that open line of communication with their mother, then it felt like I had that access to them. So I didn't want to jeopardize that. I was already, hurt with the time that I did lose with them. But, it ultimately came down to what I wanted best for my sons. And it was ultimately what was best for me indirectly. So, it helped me making the effort for them become and kind of be where I am today. It's definitely, it's worth it. It has to be worth it.
Yeah. And like your partner like supported of that? Like I feel like that's kind of where I struggle like with our co-parenting is like me and Daniel will be on the same page like when it comes to the kid's dad, like he's, going through divorce and his line of communication went from like very hostile, I got anxiety to like he's calling me all day, texting me about the kids, needing help with this, very awful. As to like the other co-parenting situation, it's like just because like they almost avoid the conflict because they were at such high conflict at one point to where like I feel like me and their dad have a understanding like, hey, we're doing good right now, but if we're going to come to an agreement, we're not going to be perfect. We might fight, we might argue, never like, yelling in front of the kids, but like disagreements. Right. But the other side was very high conflict at one time. Like, how do you go from being high conflict to now we're just not going to have no conflict, but pretty not dig into the difficult conversations?
But then that makes zero communication
Like,
too. So like
yeah.
it's either a high conflict or there's zero communication. Like you
And
guys'
then like their
spectrum
partner
is large.
And then their partner is able to contact like Daniel and contact like, you know, and stuff.
The dads
and
are in communication.
The dads are in communication. And it's
the
like
dad and the stepdad?
Yeah.
So the mom and dad don't communicate. The dad and the stepdad communicate because they just simply can't.
So it's like, if you have a partner like that, like how do you move forward in a sense to where like, you know, that kind of
I unfortunately was the cause of that. I was usually the one being
conflict.
Conflict. I was being the
He's
conflict.
all awkward. I was the problem.
That's Espy's question, right? I mean, ultimately, one of the things I am grateful for is my ex-wife. She just never gave up on the situation. Whether it be for the boys, I didn't understand her understanding, but I experienced it. So she didn't give up. And ultimately, in the long run, that speaks on our co-parenting relationship. And it made it stronger. I mean, nothing strong. You have to, I don't know how to say it. You have to, it's like a tree when it's blowing. If it doesn't get hit by the wind, it just falls over. It has to, your relationship has to be tested. So I believe so it can become strong. And, I was at a different stage in my life and I grew out of it to be able to become a better, to co-parent with her. But, I would probably need more specifics. Like,
yeah.
Well, from what I take of this situation, I've said this many times, but I've never spoken to Matt about it, is there's a difference between being a bitter baby mama and being someone who's just a parent. And Matt said he's never dealt with a divorce. His parents are still together today. And I come from a co-parenting situation. So I had example of what it was to make sure I watched my mom suck it up to make sure my dad was in the room, and I watched my dad suck it up so he could make sure that he had me in his life. It's just one of those things that you don't know it until you have to go through it yourself. And unfortunately, it's becoming a larger statistic. But I think for us, going through what we did, he said he didn't know how to maneuver going through what it was. But me not giving up, knowing that it's not about me. It's about the kids. It's about the kids having their dad. I had to do some sucking up. He had to do some sucking up. And we had to learn that it was never, when you run out of things to argue about and it's just the children remaining, then that kind of just helps the situation. And I feel like that's where you are with your co-parent, is now that the actual conflict,
the toxic is out of the picture.
And it's unfortunate that they're experiencing a divorce right now. That's the unfortunate side for them. But fortunately for you, you are losing the toxic part of what was keeping you guys from being actual co-parents. And I've never experienced what you have experienced as far as like, so your guys' co-parenting situation was weird. They were actually never really like together long enough. The kids were very, very small when they separated. And even their last son together, they were never together.
We hooked up in a car and I got pregnant.
Jesus Christ.
How do I react to that?
Like, and then I was like, shoot, I'm pregnant. I mean, to be honest, it almost could have not have been his, but
stop. That's enough. That's incriminating.
He knows the story. But anyways, when I found out I was pregnant, I knew it was his by the date and everything of the delivery. But I was like, he was, not, he was like, well, I'm not going to claim it. And I was like, fine, like, I'll not put you on the birth certificate kind of thing. And then I was high risk and I had like health issues. And then I almost like lost, my little son. And it was like, never mind, like, we'll do what we got to do. He was there at the hospital when he was born, not in the delivery room, but when he was born. But by the time I had my son, he met his wife at Walmart where they work. So we were already like, by the time my son was born, it was like done and done. So my little one never experienced us in the home together ever. He only knew 2 homes. My other 2 were still a little small too, 3 and 2. So they didn't really remember. When they see pictures, they'll be like, I think I remember that, or, I thought it was a dream or something, they say things, but who knows?
Mhm.
So yeah, they never experienced us that way. They just always experienced like they had a dad and a stepmom and me for a long time, because I waited a long time before I brought anyone into their lives. Like Daniel literally was the first man that they met. So, and they actually met him on
Not
accident.
that she didn't date,
they just came.
but
Yeah. Oh, I dated. Trust me. I
he
had
was
a
just a
POF.
winner.
I had a Tinder. I had a, that's how I met him. But
La, 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 la.
but yeah. So
Situation that he got into, so he went ahead and he moved on.
yes,
They got married.
we moved on, got married.
She didn't want to be stepmom. She wanted to be mom. Very disrespectful things that in the time that we've known each other, I was like, she did what? She did what?
Yeah.
Oh, tell him the doctor's office situation. That's the worst one for me.
Which one? Oh, when I called and they said that they spoke to mom and it was like not me and it was her a few times.
That's illegal.
Yeah. It was pretty toxic. It was pretty bad. And now, she's on the picture, so we're doing good. And I always tell him, like, my fear is, like, whoever he picks next, like, be careful, because I don't want to get into that mental state again. Like, mentally, like, I lived in the sphere almost of, like, if they called or text me, I was like, what are they going to say? What's going to happen, And now I can, like, see his number come up and I'm not, like, freaking out.
Yeah.
No,
because I witnessed them, like, she would answer and he would just be so rude to her, and for nothing, like literally for nothing. And then, like, after they broke up and it had been some time, and I remember one time I was in the car with you and he called and I heard their conversation and I was like, you guys, this is so nice.
Yep. That was after she was out of the picture?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never had to experience that. I've been grateful that my partner is super willing and open and even more
supportive.
Yeah, absolutely supportive. And I mean, he cooks for the boys. He does whatever. He goes with me to the games. I mean, we don't have a car, so it's not an easy trip, but he's out there for an hour and a half on the bus with me in the summer heat, just to go watch the boys play. Yeah. I wouldn't allow someone to dictate my relationship with my boys because of how I feel towards my boys. Now, that's not to say that, their dad doesn't have his own growth to go through, but, I do think it eventually comes to that point as long as you stay the course and just keep trying.
Yeah.
And work on whatever little communication. I mean, me and Espy were to the point where we were emailing each other only.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, we could not
speak. And, we never stopped. I mean, we did stop talking, but when we were good, we didn't stop talking even when we were indifferent. And the line of communication was always there. So, I mean,
yeah,
just keep doing that, keep communicating, keep, turning little wins into big wins and just building on it. And eventually
they did. They had their very first co-parent birthday.
See, that's
it's monumental.
Yes, it is. And when I tell anybody about the co-parenting birthdays we've ever had, I just always drop jaws. Even to this day, usually it's the older generation. I haven't had the conversation too much with people of my age, but the older ones are just like, really? Yeah. I don't mind being around, Jesse's family.
And I seen
cool
it.
People. Yeah. No, his mom especially. His mom set the tone for how she introduced herself to me and the love and care that she introduced herself to me when we had Easter on the beach together. I couldn't help but be open to what I was experiencing with, let alone her, Espy's family, but, her soon-to-be husband's family. So you do it for the kids. I did it for the kids, and it's paid off. I mean, I can hang out with Jesse's parents. The birthdays are great. I mean, I hope it just gets better in the future. And yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, because like I said, it's not 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
Renzo's high school graduation, that was the first time we had all been in the same room at the same time. And it was a beautiful thing. There was no hostility. There was nothing like, who's that? Why is she looking at me? There was never going to be anything like that, because we'd come so far and everybody was genuinely there for Lorenzo. And that's what mattered to us. And we were very specific on our guest list. Make sure that who wants to be there is wanting to be there, not to be nosy, but to be there for him and in true support for him. So that was a big one for us. And like I said, it's not going to be the last time. I mean, God willing, there's a wedding. God willing, there's grandchildren. There's going to be a lot of things that we're going to expect for our future. So we're always going to be with each other, around each other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got to make it work. You've got to figure it out. So that was part A of communication as far as the parents go. How do you feel about communication with smartphones, iPads, phones, tablets?
You mean me using them to communicate, or communicating to your children?
Between children taking iPads from house to house or phones from house to house, and your experience with it and how you can advise for.
Well, are there concerns?
Cassie?
Location?
No, there used to be. So my kids, which we're transitioning, she knows this. My kids have always had 2 phones or 2 iPads because they weren't allowed to take whatever I had at my house to their dad's. And whatever was at their dad's was not allowed to be at my house. Not by my choice. That was their choice. But
Theirs
now
is
we
in
are.
The kids?
Yes, theirs as in what we bought the kids, but what I bought the kids had to stay here, and what they bought the kids had to stay there. So that for a while was just how it was. Like our kids always had 2 things. We have a 12-year-old daughter, so now she's like, Mom, I don't want 2 phones. But because we're in a different situation, it's becoming less and less 2 things, now we're converting her to 1 phone. They still have 2 iPads because they're paid for, but Dad knows that we both have the location out to both iPads, both things. There's no secrets there. I think my biggest thing is the kids trying to communicate, if I'm lucky, at least for on my side of the co-parenting, their dad won't call and tell them hey, you want to go to the park, and or you to make plans, he will first come to me. That's the kind of where I feel like some of the situation gets sticky, is when the kids have devices, they think they have that that middle messenger to make plans, and
so they circumvent
hey, Dad,
and they reach out to him.
Yeah,
in her situation, in a separate one, but yes.
Yeah, in a separate one, yeah.
I mean, I never had that concern, and well, yeah, I don't think I've ever dealt with it. The boys have only ever had 1 phone. I mean, I can probably offer my opinion. I don't think it's a good situation for 2 devices. I don't understand the logic in it. Yeah, it does make it harder when they can just automatically turn to one parent without the other parent knowing, I guess. But I never wanted to. I would deal with that situation as it came. So if the boys reached out to SB and said the same thing, or if they were doing it the other way around, I mean, I would just deal with the situation. I don't think I would make it an issue. But I don't understand why there's 2 phones. That's difficult. Yeah, with 2 phone numbers?
Yeah.
It'd be difficult for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had 2 phones. She had 2 phone numbers, but now she's going to have 1. That kind of resolved.
Okay.
It's
I feel like it's too many devices to keep your eyes on.
Yeah.
That's to me
Well, especially when it comes to the kids. I mean, it's hard enough to keep track of 1 device when it comes to them and what they can do these days, let alone 2 devices. And if they're making co-parenting harder, I don't see that it benefits anybody.
Or 3 kids, so 6 devices.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they don't. Oh yeah, because I guess. But yeah, that's true.
It's too much. I can't.
Yeah. I feel bad enforcing the one phone. I mean, she has control over it, but from what I can do, I see their logins, when they log in, what time they log in. They still want me to be in their emails, the recovery emails. So I see all of that information, but
I don't want to be a part of that tech side. You can have it. I don't want the password.
Well, and because I appreciate their allowing me to be as involved as I am, I respect their space. So to a degree, but I respect their privacy. But with a whole other device that I wouldn't have access to, that would be concerning.
Yeah. And he knows very well that I give no fucks. I go through everything.
Yes.
If you give me a reason, I will go through it. And you will have no say.
And
if you think you have a say, then you will have no phone.
And I'm happy she does that because I couldn't do that. Yeah. I don't know why I can.
I feel like that's the struggle I have with their dad. He won't go, like, he doesn't go through their stuff. And so that's why now, just recently, he's like, here's their password. Here's all their devices. Like, I do all the screen time for both houses now because he's like, I not that he necessarily won't, but he hasn't took the time to like learn how to do it.
It's overdue.
And so now it's been more of like, now I'm in the control of all that. And I'm grateful that he's very on board. He's like, whatever we need, whatever you say.
Cool.
Like if it needs to be locked. Yeah.
It's very overdue for me as far as co-parenting goes, and that the ages that they're at, you are now going to have to enforce things on what's going to be preteens. And that's where it's going to get sticky because it should have been dealt with in the beginning. But that's my advice.
Yeah, no, I would agree. You have to set the precedent early on, or else they learn very early how to take advantage of the situation and get internet without any way of getting internet. Yeah.
All those free hotspots they can get now.
Lord, can he find a goddamn list?
Everyone could find a free hotspot somewhere.
Yeah.
I have a question too, though. How do you guys, like, I know a little bit how SB does, but like, how do you guys deal with the like emotional like part and the like mental part of like the co-parenting?
He's better at that. I bow out.
Well,
I can't do it.
In what aspect? Like to the kids, to our relationship?
I would say yourselves. No, like yourselves. Yeah. Like.
Emotionally?
Wait, what?
Yeah, for yourselves. Like, how do you deal,
like dealing with the kids' emotions or like.
No, you can't deal with kids' emotions.
Hell no. Go to your dad for that one. I don't know that one.
Your feelings are what? Go over there.
Yeah.
I don't have emotions. Can't deal with that.
Like your own mental health, like dealing with the ups and downs of co-parenting.
Bluntly, I was the first to seek mental health treatment in my family. That was an order.
And that's why I send them to him.
Yeah. So, I think I'm pretty self-aware now about my issues and, why I've done it and where, why I'm not doing it anymore. But, it did, I had to root a lot of my mental health in my boys because they were the reason for me to be happy. So it started first with seeing my boys. Once I established that connection, then everything else kind of just fell into place. As I was doing that, I was seeking medical, what do you call it? A mental health care. I was seeing a psychologist, and I've never had anything but a great experience in doing so. We've always offered that to the boys if they ever needed it. And it's something I've always explained to the boys. I'll give you an example. Very early on, Lorenzo had a bully, and, I don't know how most parents would approach it, but I approached it looking at it from the bully's aspect. So Lorenzo had an understanding of why the bully was doing what he was doing. After maybe describing what the bully looked like, I can probably give my son a reason as to why this kid is acting the way he is. And once my son understood that, then, you kind of take that power away and you understand where people are coming from. And when I internalize that thought process on myself, take my own advice and I lost my train of thought.
I think what you're trying to get to is that had you not gone and gotten the tools for us, I definitely wouldn't have had the answers because I would have said, tell your mom to meet me outside. But between co-parents, one of y'all have got to figure out what the answer is. And thankfully, he has experience. And I say it all the time. I need therapy. I know I need therapy, but I just, haven't done it. But at least one of us has the right answers, because I don't know what I would do if I was by myself having to deal with all of the problems. So that's why I say, like, I can proudly say, like, go to your dad with that one. Just go to your dad, because me, I'm a 0 to 100 real quick. And he's more calm, collective, and like, okay, hold on, break it down for me, because I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, that balance didn't work itself out. I mean, it evolved in our relationship and even beyond our relationship. And I mean, we've known each other for 20 years, so it's taken a long time to get to where we are. And we've been here for a while, but it's still, it took us a while to get where we are. And everything, every trial, every problem, every issue that we had, it's only made us stronger.
And I think you taking that to therapy with you helped us get past it as well, because you brought to me what you'd learned, and I was like, oh, okay, like, all right.
Yeah.
But I think, had you not gone to therapy, I think the conversations would look a lot different, because I can now text you and be like, hey, can I call you? And you're not like, oh my God, what is she calling me about? What do we need to talk about? Am I in trouble? Like, you're like, you've taught me to say, don't just say, we need to talk. You need to say, what about? And I'm like, you're fucking right. Cause I didn't even think about that when I just said, we need to talk. Like, cause I'm over here like, what is he going to wear for Easter pictures?
Yeah.
And you're like, my God, she's going to yell at me for something.
Yeah. What papers are she serving me? No, I'm just kidding.
What papers are she serving me?
Now I know. I'm like, we need to talk about coordinating this, that. Can you call me when you have a moment? I had to learn how to explain that to him, because, it's like that love language. Like, we have to learn each other even afterwards. What works for him is not what I need, but I know it works for him.
Yep. I would agree.
No, it's so funny that he says like how we talk and stuff like that. Because the other day yesterday when I had taken Isaac to the, we need to talk about that, by the way.
Yeah. You just reminded me. I was just like,
I took Isaac to the orthodontist, and they do want to start phase 2.
Mm-hmm.
But he had called me randomly when I was in front of the doctor, and she was like, I said, oh, look, Dad's calling. And she was like, oh, if you need to pick it up or if you want to listen in or anything like that. And I was like, I didn't even hear what she said. All I thought about was like, is he okay? Should I call him back? Should I step out? Do you think he's fine? I was like,
I told
Isaac, check your dad's look.
I don't call you. Yeah, I know.
And it's not like a am I in trouble thing. I'm just like, he doesn't call me. So like, Isaac, check his location. Like, is he okay? Like, should I go get him?
Well, if I wasn't at work, because I have to be on the phone, I would have responded. But yeah, no, that was my bad. That was totally my bad, because I did completely leave you hanging.
Bad communication. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
That was not an example of what we should be doing. Yeah.
Yeah, we failed. We failed yesterday. And then even later on, I was like, you never called me back.
No, that was this morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
funny. Well, anyways. The next thing that I had on my list was parenting styles in 2 separate homes. And the reason why I put this on there, and I don't completely know all of the situation, Cassie, but I just to shits and giggles, let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just use like an example, because me and Matt are so similar in our parenting styles that I can't relate to this one. So I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm more saying like, we don't even have to talk about like the screen time or nothing like that. But I'm like, say one house is vegan and one house is like sugar galore. Like, how do you navigate co-parenting separate parenting styles in 2 different houses? And how the heck do you expect your children to be able to know when to turn it on and turn it off? I mean, that's even going from like spanking in one house and not spanking in the other.
Yeah. We do have that.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, it would be with screen time. I mean, our example would be screen time.
Oh.
I'm very liberal when it comes to screen time.
Say it again?
Yeah, you're not. And, with me, it was, I mean, what I do when it comes to screen time, it was video games. Okay, so video games are what me and my boys do to kind of bond. It's what we do to kind of
together.
Yes. So, I couldn't take that away from them. Phones, okay, that I understand. But when it comes to different households and what's to be expected, when they come over and I hear from their mother, they're not doing something that they don't necessarily do at my house, but at her house, I am talking to them and, I'm supporting her in a sense from my house in her parenting at her house to reinforce what she expects.
Yeah, like if you don't think that your phone's not going to be taken away at my house because you're going to your dad's and your dad is also going to, that
Right.
punishment will flow over.
Yes, exactly.
In our situation.
Yeah, except video games. Again, that's what we do together. But cell phones, yes, I can care for less. I can care for less for cell phones, yeah.
Yeah. I had to learn this because when I could see their screen time usage, I was under this impression that they were going over there and just playing video games. And to me, I'm like, listen, you have from this time to this time with your dad. You need to take advantage and soak up this time with your dad, not being on the game with your friends, because that's what they do here. It wasn't going together with me because my parenting style here was less screen time.
Yeah. Well, and
But
it's literal, like the literal layout of my room is beneficial to me. So I have my gaming desk here. And so, one of the boys can be here playing the game and I'm on bed watching TV and just subtly interacting with them, every 10 minutes and checking in on them and just talking to them and allowing them to do what they want with their friends, but also being engaged with them. So they're not hyper vigilant and,
Yeah, I don't have that in common with them. So yeah. I don't understand it.
Well, and they do, they respect it because they won't jump on the games until when they first come over. We have our family time. We sit down, we talk at the couch. We put on Jeopardy, we'll watch the news. Lately it's been basketball. So the boys have been making it an effort to establish that time because they do believe they felt guilty with being on the game all the time. And unfortunately, there isn't too much for us to do here all the time. Watching TV, like Isaac is watching so much TV with me now. He's asking me to watch shows with him that he wouldn't. He asked me to start watching the Star Wars series. And
oh my God, he wants a Star Wars birthday.
I almost started crying when he asked me.
Give the kid a normal kid birthday.
Yes.
It's such a Star Wars fan, though.
Yes. And he asked me. So we watched the first two Star Wars last Saturday or Sunday. And, that was 7 hours of uninterrupted time. And he's asking me questions. I'm sharing my knowledge of Star Wars with him. And Chris is interjecting the same information. See, you guys don't understand.
I would die. 7 hours of Star Wars?
You can have
That's 2 movies.
I want it.
No.
2 movies?
No, 6 hours, yeah.
You know how many Gilmore Girls I can watch in 7?
Yeah.
Because Isaac was telling me about it, and I was like, do you know that the last time that I took them to go see a Star Wars movie, it was one of the last ones that had just came out. I was still working graveyard. So we bought tickets to a matinee show or something like that, right? Because it was still early enough for me to go while I was awake, but whatever. I took a 3-hour nap while the kids watched.
Nope.
I was like, oh, is it a good movie?
That's how mine and Chris's first conversation was about Star Wars.
Yeah, nerds.
No.
It's not that I don't like them. It's just that if I have not kept up with it, then I can't keep focus on it. Like I can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on one second.
It won't grab my attention. I was telling Matt that I bought me and the kids some like random puzzle books.
I'm sure you did.
I said for less screen time.
Yeah. I don't know about this. Emma buys word puzzles. She does like to do like the word scrambles. She does like those. She has like 2 books. She does that. But
Cassie's very aware of my limit the screen time thing. She had to ask me, how do you do that and stuff? Because
yeah, I still have trouble.
I tell her that I will snatch my 19-year-old's phone out of his hand while we're at the dinner table, because I'm like, we're right here, buddy. We're eating. You don't need to watch anything. You don't need to play with anything. You don't need to talk to anybody. Talk to me. I'm right here. If we're only going to conjoin once a day or whatever it is, I'd like your attention.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Do you guys do that there?
No.
At the house?
Not at all. I mean,
he said
this is what I do. When the boys I see that are on their phones too much and this is why they are the way they are, is I kind of start being a dick to them about it. And I start throwing it in their face and I start acting like I'm nosy. I'm like, who's so important? And I just annoy them to the point till they put the phone down. Hint. Yeah. Telling them.
I'm all,
yeah. Well, and then telling them too, they don't listen.
I think for me too, I think a lot of it is like when they come back from their dads, I almost give them like a decompression day. Like depending on what time they come back. Like if they're coming back on a Sunday, which they normally are, a Sunday at like 6, I let them have the night of the moods and readjusting. And then the next day, like, hey, we're at home now. We don't leave our shoes anywhere. We don't talk back to me like that. We don't, you know how we are in this house. These are our rules. And I kind of leave it at that way because I just feel like it would be hard for me, too. It's just like almost when you go on vacation. You're in vacation mode. And then you come back and you're like, darn it, I have to, like, eat healthy and eat, go back to work and do all these things.
Yeah.
So I'm more of that way as to like Daniel's kind of like, no, get over it. You're here. You know the rules. You're here more days. You should know what's expected of you. But I also am like, just like when you come home from work, you want to decompress. It's the same thing for the kids, I feel like. And that's kind of like how I have the mindset.
No, I think that's a great idea.
But after that night, when they wake up that next day, hey, like this is not how it's going to be.
I've never told you that before. I've never told you that that's how I had to deal with the kids too.
Oh, I know. I know we have very different households. And I know that.
But
yeah.
Then usually the day after they come home, it's usually like an attitude or a shit talking demeanor that like, I'm okay with it. We talk shit.
Yeah.
But also like, motherfucker.
Yeah. No, see, what
it's your day.
See, and that's not okay because there's a difference between me and you. And I make it a point so the boys understand there's a way you talk to me and there's a way you talk to your mother. And I've always expressed that. And that's because you don't appreciate it. And they need to understand it. They may be able to talk to me how they talk to me because that's how I am, because I can deal with it. But there are times where that gets to the point where I have to shut that shit down. And I have to say, hey, stop talking to me like that. Chill out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did you literally take time? Did you do the whole one day decompress? Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad it worked.
I would have to give them their space to be like, all right, now, but tomorrow your chores start. But tomorrow, your sleep schedule will go back to normal. But tomorrow but also that's something that I think we've done that to ourselves though, because like you said, we do treat them as equals. So sometimes you have to remind them that we are not equals.
Well, and
you go fuck around and you can find out, but
true. And I make it very well known, especially with Lorenzo. It's no longer child abuse. It's assault if me and him get into it. So, yeah. I let him know. I'm going to jail, but not for that long. Let it be known.
Mama, what you say to me?
Yeah. But, and speaking on that, where the dynamic becomes difficult for me is just I only get them 3 days. So it is my opportunity to express the love I have for them as short as possible. So I cook for them, and even now, the mess is more controlled in that it's in one area and I can pick it up and it's not spread everywhere. But yeah, I just treat them different because I don't have them that much. And it's always been that way. And I feel guilty about it, but you know, I got to do what I got to do.
But it hasn't
it's my love language with
produced
them.
bad results.
Yeah. Well, and you know, that's why I support you in what you need me for, even when it comes to your household, because of that leeway that I did have with them and the fact that you've never given me shit about it. You've never given me shit about it. You've told me what you expect, and even when I don't do it, it doesn't sour our relationship. And, you know, you communicate it to me, and I then communicate it to the boys. So I may be the cause of it, but I will help fix it. I'm not just going to leave you high and dry. And
And mind you, I'm not perfect. So there are times where I still have to call him and say, I don't know what to do here. I'm not. I'm by far not perfect.
Wait, can
I'm
you
organized.
Say it again? Can you say it for the people in the back that didn't hear you say that?
She's very organized.
OCD, but I'm not perfect.
She said, I'm not perfect. Let me record that. And we have it recorded.
It is. It's recorded. I'm well organized, but I am not perfect.
No, I'm going to show him our text today, what you sent me. So this is what she says. This is what she sends me, right? And she says, I'm not allowed in Dollar Tree because this is her organized car, right?
Goodness.
I sent her a picture, which I'm going to have to like cover it a little, but like I sent her a picture of my bathroom, right? I was like, I need your help. Like, help me organize it. This is what she sends me. She zooms into the corner and she said, take the tag off. That's what I heard. Not the whole mess of like, I need to organize. It's take the tag off.
That's a specific type of OCD.
Because your husband allows this shit in his house.
It's my corner. I'm allowed to do what I want in my corner. I have my own sink now. He has his. You can tell the difference.
Well, you can do that, but you can also take the tag off, goddammit. You're not going to return it, are you?
I think that's a universal rule, right? Everybody can take the tag off.
Right?
Just take the tag off. I saw the mess, and then I was like... It's because one day I went into my center. Oh, when we were going to the bridal shower, and I was like, I can't find a pin. I can't find a pin in my damn center console. Nope, had to organize it. One time is one time too many.
Yeah.
And you know who doesn't have an organized console? Me. And you know who found her pin? Me.
That would be me. I was told very young, always keep a pin in the car. And I always had one, either in the door or in the center console.
I know I have 3 in there somewhere. Well, now I have 5, and they're all blue.
Yeah. Perfect.
Which is funny because if you look at Isaac's room compared to Lorenzo's room is very like, his shoes are in the closet, they're on the shoe rack, his stuff
very
is folded, it's put away, he makes his bed, and then you go to Isaac's room and it's like,
yeah. I've grown from one to the other. I was very organized young, but now it's just like, it's controlled chaos. I know where everything is. That's all that matters, right?
You know me?
For you, Chris.
I told Daniel, I said, I had a twin, but for the most like full-size bed. And I said, I always just slept with my clean clothes next to me.
Wow.
I put them away. Like, my room was clean.
That's what the baskets are for.
Clean.
The baskets hold more clothes.
No, because then then they would be like, need to be, you know, what's that thing?
Ironed?
I
stopped ironing 10 years ago.
I don't even know how to iron. I do have an iron, but
I don't think Albert Einstein ironed his clothes. Yeah.
I'm like, it's for arts and crafts. But if you put them on the bed, me?
No way.
I do, but it's for arts and crafts. Look,
it's not an iron bed. No. That's not. The first time I learned this about her, we were in Mexico, and she was like, "SB, can you iron my clothes for me?"
Wow.
My other best friend doesn't complain. She comes and irons mine and my kids' clothes for pictures.
You say, "Mommy, please," then.
You guys don't know about the spray? what is it? The
I
softener?
barely learned about it like a few months ago. My aunt says it works great. She said that she uses it sometimes in her office.
SB's sister showed us that. I don't know if she remembers, but yeah, she didn't iron her clothes. Spray? Yeah,
the Downy spray. I need it.
Pull them.
No, that doesn't make sense because she is military, and that doesn't make sense.
She found a workaround.
Doesn't make sense.
She's too busy making sure her bed could bounce a penny off it, so she doesn't have time to iron.
Do you have any other questions for us?
Me?
While you have us on the line, Cassie.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Ross, I'm gonna jump into the last one, and it hasn't. Go ahead.
Does that have to do with me?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
I do have another question I thought about. What I want to ask both of you guys to say what was a moment, and I mean within the last few years, I guess, where you guys were like, dang, like we made it, like with this like co-parenting. Like, I don't know if it was like the same time or like did you guys realize it at the same time or
Lorenzo's graduation.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's my answer.
Yeah.
It was very hard for me to keep my shit together, Lorenzo's graduation.
Yeah, as I've grown, for me, I've realized it every day. Every day that I can text her and she answers and we can work through the boys' problems together, I've been appreciative of that every day that we've been in that good position. I mean, I honestly can't nail it to one day because it's a feeling that I feel every day as we have this relationship. So I can't narrow it.
You're going to make her cry.
No, I can't. I really can't. I can't. It's been, good. Since we started, I guess we can call it our last run, these last 5 or so years.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing I can complain about what we do for the boys and how we do it. And there's nothing I would change. So, as different as we parent in some aspects, because of the line of communication being open, I mean, we can fully support each other. And I'm just grateful for it every day. Every day that boys, every day I get to see the boys, every day I get to, I mean, even just being at the volleyball games, it's probably the volleyball games. Lorenzo, when he was in high school, I guess that was it because Chris was there, Jesse was there.
Like senior night.
Yeah, my dad was there, my brother was there. I mean, those are big points that I never thought we'd ever get to. Hoping we would get there one day, but we got there, and probably senior night with Lorenzo. Yeah, volleyball because we were all there.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was like I say, even like his graduation party was like a huge for us to all be in the same room at the same time. Like that was monumental. Oh yeah, especially when our families came together. That. I mean, because they didn't have to work on our relationship. They didn't have to be involved. So they held their grudges. But, for the betterment of Lorenzo, and because of Lorenzo, they went. And afterwards, I heard nothing but great things. So just putting themselves in the position for the boys led them to feeling different after the fact. So, putting yourself in uncomfortable positions will make you feel better. I mean, it'll allow you to grow. Yeah. That and the time that I had showed up at your house to talk to you about Lorenzo and his emo Scarlet era. That one was a big one for me too, because that was a parenting thing for us that I needed help. I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like that was a big one because that I knew solidified the fact that we were a team. And I wasn't in it by myself. I never was in it by myself, but I knew I had 100% support. And that was a big one for me.
Even with the phone call when you first called me about this situation and I was walking outside, you were getting me hyped up. I was ready to go for Lorenzo. I was like, what are we going to do? How are we going to handle this?
Yeah.
Who we calling? Which police department? And was it you that called the police department? It was you, right? Asking if we had to file there or here?
No. That fucking bitch called the police on Lorenzo.
I misremember the situation. No, remember because we said we wanted to file something and then we asked.
Yeah. Okay. Now the whole picture's, it was a lot in one very small moment of time where it just escalated so quickly that I was like, I don't have control of the situation. That's hard for me to swallow, that I needed help. And yeah, so
Well,
that's probably a big one.
I'm grateful that you're able to take the boys to all of their medical things. Dental, especially, I don't understand anything about dental. I'm so grateful that, we balance each other out with your know-hows and my know-hows.
Mm-hmm.
It ultimately just leads, we get the boys also get the input of our spouses. So, I mean, it's awesome that they have 4 people who love them.
We're
4 sets.
Big ass team.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I've always saw it, is we're a team, especially when it came to the boys. We're not on different teams. We're on the same team because they're both our boys.
Yeah.
My light died.
Not mine.
Okay, hold on. I got
my white screen is still
He
shining.
He has this really
bright.
cool trick.
Boom. I have a backup.
Okay.
Maybe I can.
All right. Last thing that I have on my list, and it has nothing to do with children, but just as an icebreaker. Are you ready?
Yes.
Chris, are you in the room?
He's listening with the other earbud.
Okay. Then we need to know.
Icebreakers in the front, in the beginning of the show.
No, just wrapping it up, making light of the situation.
Okay.
Do you allow your significant other to pop your pimples and tweeze your ingrowns? I'm a popper. I have to do it. I'm a picker and a popper.
We are aware of each other's. Yes, we are active in that. We do. We very much do. And we don't question each other. I ask him, hey, I got something. Yeah, he dives right in. No questions asked.
Yep. Like, can you see it? Can you see it?
Yep. He's the one taking pictures. He'll record them for me so I can look at them. He's my cameraman because I have to diagnose it first. And then I'll let him work on it. Yeah.
I have to diagnose.
I do
Should I call 911 on this
one? Yeah. I do. I'll give him a plan of action. I'm like, all right, we're gonna take the head off first, and then we'll start exploring. Yeah.
He's gonna get the little lancer. Alcohol. He's gonna be like, do we need a lancet?
Oh, we do have those. Yep. We have a plethora of tools. Yes, we do.
Essie, you didn't answer. We can't answer this by ourselves.
Me? Well, for him, yeah, but I would not let him touch me. If I had a pimple or something, I go to my derma lot, like my skin. But I don't know.
Are you too embarrassed to show him?
No, I show him, but he's not doing it. Like, I had full on surgery. He had to see it all. Like, he had to drain my drains and everything. But
he's not draining your cysts and your pimples?
No.
You haven't used them with the pimple popper videos?
Well, first of all, those are nasty. First of all,
I love them.
I don't pop because, you see the skin? It does not look like this because I'm popping my face. You see what happened when I popped this little lip one right here? Like, looks like I had piercings. Those were pimples that I decided to pop. I learned my lesson. I think if I was like really needing him to, and I was like, and it was like somewhere where if I scarred, I wouldn't really care. I guess, yeah. For him, heck yeah, I'm like, where's my tweezers? Let me pop this. He doesn't care. He lets me. But
you
for
have
me,
the headlamp on? See, we have a headlamp.
Yeah. I got my
we
little
don't need
light.
it. We need hands free, so we have a headlamp. Sometimes we need to get in there. Yep.
Oh, hey, he has a headlamp.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They make it a date night. They're like, how many you got tonight? I got one right here.
Yep.
Been saving this one all day for you, baby.
There are ones I won't touch because we'll wait for later.
It's not done.
It's not ready. It's still harvesting.
I don't know why it's fun. It's intimate. I don't know why. I wouldn't do it with my.
Are you even a real couple if you're not popping each other?
I don't know why.
My point exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We've been wanting to do this with you for a long time. And if you wouldn't mind, if you had a good time with us, we would love to have like a phone a friend.
Phone a friend? What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if
Like,
we ever had
we'll
any
just
random
call you.
questions come up while we're recording.
Yeah. I don't see why not. Yeah.
Okay. When we get on topics where we get stuck, we're just gonna be like, oh, we need you to answer. Call a phone a friend really quick.
It's okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's cool. I'm down with it.
Okay. Yay!
One time we
Alright,
called my
add you to the
grandma.
roster.
Oh man.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Sometimes we need Graham's
Mhm.
advice. She gives good advice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
She does.
thank you again for joining us.
Wow,
And
this was
hopefully
so
we've earned
fun,
you as a
though.
new
I
listener.
actually am glad we did
Absolutely.
this.
Since you like podcasts so much.
Thank
and
you.
now you can say you've been on one.
Yes.
And now you can share us with all your friends.
I will. Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it. It was fun. Yeah, no, it's a great experience. I'm glad you guys get to do it every week. I couldn't imagine.
It's like
though.
therapy.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Do you guys have a lot of guests on?
We're trying to do it more often. We've had like business owners, we've had like family members and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice to have like extra people chime in and give us their side of the story. I know that we also want to do an episode with a friend of ours who is in a stepmom relationship like situation. So we want to hear as that type of co-parent too.
Yeah.
Like I said, we have so many things that come up that we just want an extra person's perspective. We can sit and talk all day long, but it means a lot more when we actually have someone chime in and give us their side of the story too. So
Well, you guys made me feel nothing but welcome, so I appreciate it. Yeah.
Good.
That's
Good.
fun.
I'm glad. Well, hopefully we'll hear from you soon and have a good night.
Bye.
Bye, besties.
Well, it was great talking to you guys. I really enjoyed it. Some advice from me, like from you guys, feeding into my little co-parenting soul. So, bye guys. Bye, besties.
Bye. Bye, bestie.
Thanks for listening to another hour of our bullshit.
Make sure you follow us on all of our socials at BFIL.podcast.
You can catch us every week on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Bye, besties.